Oh my god, they're giving us a locker! Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Very exciting news come out today, again about the feature patch. ArenaNet keep rolling. Pretty much every single blog post they've given us so far about this huge feature patch that's upcoming has been significant in some way, and they've continued that today with the announcement of a massive feature coming to the game, which is the wardrobe system. This is something people will be familiar with from other MMOs. People have been crying out for in Gw2. Something that a fair few people are going to say should have been there since launch, given the fact that Gw2 is such a cosmetically based game. It's all about cosmetics rather than stat grind, and this is like such a core feature to be able to make your character look the way you want it to look, and it's just not been there. But now it finally is. I'm here to talk to you guys about the information they revealed and what this actually is going to mean for the game. This is on top of all the other stuff that's going on with game balance and traits and so forth that was revealed before, all coming in the same update. So, and very soon, this is the wardrobe. Apparently it's been in development ever since the wallet came out, which was the previous big account-bound style update. If you guys remember, the wallet was when they changed dungeon tokens, which were originally items that were cluttering up your bank, and gold that was originally separated across all your different characters, karma, moved it all in together into one handy element of the UI. This is like the next step of that. Again, it's something else that's reducing a ton of bank clutter and making the game a lot freer and more fun to play. So I will clarify very quickly, how do skins and things work in Guild Wars 2 right now? Basically, there's tons of skins, only a few you can be wearing at any time, and so people that like to hoard cool skins, rare skins, things they're particularly sentimental about, especially if they have alts, all end up going in their bank and cluttering the hell out of everything. If you have an item that is, say, statistically really strong, like your favorite Berserker's staff, and you want a better skin for it, you have to combine that Berserker's staff with another item with the skin you like, by using a transmutation stone that you buy on the gem store. You combine all of these items together, you destroy one of them to create like your perfect thing in the end. It costs a lot of money and it's very destructive. It also means that if you don't like what you just transmuted, it's very difficult to go back on that process. You've destroyed an item and you have to buy more stuff to be able to go back, which was only recently shoehorned into the game. So now they have a new system. Now, whenever you press H to go to your hero panel, where currently you can see your gear, to the left of that, you can see a whole bunch of different skins you can, on the fly, apply to your armor at any time. And if you do choose to apply a skin and you don't like how it looks, that's no problem, you can instantly go back. Now, instead of skins being just on items, if you get a skin, that unlocks permanently across all characters on your entire account for life. Skins are no longer something you'll buy on the gem store and then regret it because later on you've accidentally deleted one of those items. If you buy one of these skins, if you find a skin somewhere in game, if you spend a long time crafting a certain skin, it's unlocked for you forever and on all characters. So they released a little video with the blog post, which I guess I'll be using a little bit of footage in the background so you guys can see. Honestly, it looks a little bit clustered, a little bit weird, but I often feel like that's always the case with Guild Wars 2. When the wallet, which we were just talking about, first came out, I remembered feeling like it was a bit annoying and a bit clunky, but I quickly got used to it. I feel like that's going to be the same situation here, but that's what your new hero panel is going to look like. At all times, as I say, on the left, there's all the different skins you currently have available. Now, do bear in mind, this doesn't change anything with stats. So, for example, if I'm leveling up and I've got, you know, a certain sword and a new one's just dropped from a mob, maybe it's a rare one, I'm still going to want to pick up that new sword and equip it because it has better stats. But if I don't like the new skin on that sword, then the one I was previously holding is still unlocked for my account, so I can just instantly swap back. That gives you the benefits of the new stats without the hassle of having to combine things and destroy stuff and go through really long processes in the gem store. Let's talk about that for a second. How do you unlock skins under the new system? They seem to have thought of pretty much every way you could conveniently unlock something. So here's an example again, right? Say we're leveling up and a Skelk has just dropped a nice shoulder piece for us. Well, by equipping that shoulder piece, we've automatically unlocked that skin for future use ever on that character and any other character. Just by equipping the gear, we have now unlocked it for our account, right? Another example, let's say though we're level 80, we're doing our daily in Gendaran Fields, a Skelk just dropped an item and it's a green. Now what would you normally do with that green? Probably salvage it for Magic Find. Well again, you can salvage an item, and by salvaging the item, you don't even have to equip it. Just by salvaging it, if it's a skin you've never had before, it will unlock that again for future use on the rest of your account. And again, so failing that, let's say it's an item that you're not going to want to salvage and you don't want to equip either. Anything that is a skin in your inventory that you haven't got before, you will have the option, hey, do you want to right click this and bind it to your account? unlocking it for everyone. Now, that does mean you can't sell it to other players. This is really obvious if you think about it. Otherwise, you would have one player finds a skin, they unlock it for their account, sell it to gives it to their friend, sells it to their friend, then they unlock it, and then the same item just goes through everyone, and then eventually everyone has it and they have no value. So by unlocking something for your account, it has to be binding it to your account, or, you know, destroying it in the case of salvaging. Another example of the way the new system's going to work is what are currently known as skins in-game. Sometimes you'll get an item that drops called a skin. Now, how do those work currently? It's just the look of an item which you double click and it brings up like one of those boxes like with transmutation stones, and you need to apply it to a weapon you already own. Skins like that, now that all that arbitrary nonsense isn't there. If you've got an item called a skin, so for example in my bank I have some toxic armor skins. I've got like gloves and shoulders. The reason it's in my bank is because I don't really know what character I want to put it on, and I don't want to put it on a character and then regret it later and end up deleting it. So that's just been in my bank account. Well, after this patch, I can take that out of my bank, double click those skins, they will disappear from my inventory and just become these permanent things that are unlocked forever on my account. And now I can swap in and out whenever I like. That's what's happening to current skins that are in the game. And even beyond that as well, to make it even easier, think about random items that drop and are instantly account bound to you. You know, think about like those annoying items that appear in Fractals of the Mists, where you think, oh yeah, I've got this cool exotic, I can sell this thing, oh wait, it's account bound to me. Well, stuff like that, you don't even have to go to the hassle of right-clicking to bind to your account. It's just the second you pick it up, it's unlocked. Basically, anything that would have been account bound before that is also a skin is now permanently available to you and all your characters. This does come with one stipulation, and that is that every time you want to apply one of these new skins to an item, it costs you what's called a transmutation charge. Currently, the cost is transmutation crystals that you have to buy on the Black Lion store. It's now through these things called charges, which do sound a lot more liberating, but basically will be a currency you can buy, you can pay for on the Black Lion store. Now, again, that doesn't mean real world money, that just means you can convert your gold into gems to buy them, but they're available on the Black Lion store. Also, all the current transmutation stones and crystals that are in the game, once the update goes live, you'll be able to convert those into transmutation charges. This is actually quite nice because it gives those of us who have been hoarding the crappy stones a reason to use them. For those who might be slightly out of the loop, the way the game currently works is for any item that is level 1 to 79, you can use some of these really bad stones, and if you want to transmute something that's level 80, i.e. anything that's good in the game, you have to pay more money for, and you have to go through the Black Lion store. And so as you've been playing the game through your dailies since, you know, it released a year ago now, you could have been hoarding these bad stones and just leaving them in your bank the entire time, even though feasibly you'd have very little use for them. And so some people have hundreds of these. Well, with this update, you can actually transfer those directly into charges, and they have a use again. They'll probably stop dropping from daily rewards. They didn't specify that specifically in the blog post, but now you can convert them and get an actual use from them. Already, to me, this is sounding really good. Some people might be a bit disappointed that there's the transmutation charge added on there, but I do think that adding too much freedom to the players in the game can be a really bad move. I think right now, if this is a good gold sink for them, frankly, a good way for them to encourage people to get gems, either through the in-game economy or by spending real-world money, you know, that would be sort of folly for them to completely eliminate from the system. If everyone had perfect freedom attached to no currency to constantly be swapping their gear, I think that's actually going to devalue in a lot of the ways you feel your character looks and the aesthetic you've built for them. So, it's okay, and it's to be expected. You know, this update isn't necessarily to start giving us loads of things for free. They have a system in the game right now where they do get money from the Black Lion store. There is a real reason that people want gems to at least get these stones for when they get new gear, and I wouldn't expect them to, like, eliminate that entire aspect of it. We've got the charges. It does look like it's more liberating than before with the old stones. It's certainly a far less destructive process, and the fact that we have so much more freedom makes me happy enough. Aside from that, though, they did talk about some other things in the blog, like nice quality of life things that they've added with the patch that just sound like a pleasure for when we finally log in. Number one is items that have like a linear progression to obtain. So think about with one of the recent patches, the spinal back piece that they released. You'd originally get just one item that had a certain look about it, and then you'd upgrade it to another item that had a certain look about it, and then another, and then another, and another, until eventually you get the ascended super cool glowy one. Well, with items like that, this includes, say, the legendary weapon Eternity, which is built from 2 different precursors into 2 different legendaries that then then combine together, and the same with a fractal back piece also. All these items, if you have that one at the end of the totem pole, they'll just automatically unlock every single previous skin for you as well. So again, an example from me, my Elementalist has got the best spinal back piece thing. I actually wanted to get that for my Necromancer too. Well, it's just automatically unlocked, and all the previous ones is just unlocked for me, and now I can go on my Necromancer without all the extra effort. I think some people might be screwed over by this slightly. I did personally know some guys that made multiple sets of those spinal back pieces while the patch was out, and now that obviously seems slightly pointless to them, but that's going to happen anyway. You know, now that they've given us more freedom, people that were working around that freedom are going to get slightly gypped, I'm afraid to say. Other things to take note about this, I just mentioned Eternity. Yes, that means that legendary weapons, the skins at least, remember this isn't about stats, but the legendary weapons now, once you have crafted a legendary, that legendary is account bound. I have got Meteorologicus on my Elementalist, and now, forevermore, when I log on to my Mesmer, I can apply that legendary skin to any scepter that my Mesmer is wielding. And because legendaries aren't necessarily entirely about the stats, you know, they are quite useful in being able to swap the stats, but because a huge chunk of what these legendaries are and what Guild Wars 2 is, it's about the cosmetics, this is a big change. This is huge incentive for people to now go out and create legendaries on their accounts, because they know that it's going to be put to use no matter what character they're playing on. I do express some doubts about this, because it means probably we're going to be seeing a lot more legendaries in Guild Wars 2. Already I feel like Guild Wars 2 is at a point where you see a legendary and it doesn't mean anything anymore because there's already a lot out there. Well, now that these skins are account bound, it means that even people playing on alts will be able to be all super flashy and have all the legendaries out. So I think we will be seeing a lot of legendaries after this patch comes out. But when it's all said and done, I think the pros do outweigh the cons, and a lot of people are just going to be happy to have account bound legendary skins. Some other little things, a little note that I thought about. Now that we have all armor easily account bound, it means some of those obscure starter armors in the game. So for example, if you create a Guardian, you have a choice during character creation to choose what type of shoulder pieces you have. And, you know, like one of them have got the big healing breeze symbols on them, the Anks. And this is like a Guardian exclusive shoulder piece that you could, through a long and annoying process, stop being soulbound before. Well, now, once the update goes live, if you want to collect all the skins, you can create all these new characters and get all of these specific things for classes and equip them on other classes. I can have a warrior that is wearing all this Guardian gear, or I can have, you know, one of those iconic Mesmer masks on my Elementalist, for example. There's something kind of weird going on and kind of interesting with town clothes. So currently, you've got your regular armor in the game, and they also sell on the Black Lion store town clothes, and these are purely cosmetic things that you can't wear while you're in combat, but you can swap to them anytime you're not in combat. And it was kind of a cool feature. I remember, like, pre-launch, people being very excited about it, you know, especially in RP communities. It's kind of cool to just be able to swap to this stuff while you're out in cities. However, people rarely use them. Also in town clothes, you've got a weapon slot for town clothes called a toy slot, and by equipping a toy into this slot, you can participate in Costume Brawl, which is sort of a non-combat minigame. Well, under the new system, they are removing the idea of having a full gear set for town clothes and condensing that into just a single gear slot, which you can now see next to your headpiece on the new hero panel. Again, I'll try and put for the footage in the background a specific image of this. So now all of those sets of town clothes you had before just come as one item that you can put on at any time. Now, currently in game, there's very little incentive to bother with town clothes, I feel, because there's a lack of variety and it's just a bit of a hassle to swap in and out a lot. Well, they are incentivizing the usage of town clothes under the new transmutation system, in that it doesn't cost you any transmutation charges to mess about with your town clothes. Any outfits you buy are forever free to just swap in and out. So now you do have that incentive to swap to your town clothes, and you do have that incentive to sort of play around with fashion a little bit, because this stuff is free, and I'm curious how that will go. This does mean one thing though. They currently have toy slots in the game, and it sounds like the toy slot is being removed. The question then becomes, how exactly does that all work together? My speculation here is that the toys will now become items you double-click to change your skill bar. Think about the new Valentine's item that they added to the game, the box of chocolates. that item is basically a toy. It's the kind of thing you'd put in your toy slot, and then while you're in your town clothes, you get to use it. But it's not a toy. Instead, it's a consumable that you double click and has infinite uses. And I think that the reason why they put that out during Valentine's Day is sort of a suggestion of the way all of these items will go. So if you're a little bit lost right now, I'm talking about stuff like the Witch's Broom, or the Valentine's Day Rose Bouquet, or the Mad King's, what's his toy? I can't remember. Is it a cauldron that is his toy? All these items, those will probably just become things you double click in your inventory. That's my speculation there anyway, and that's what's happening with town clothes now. And I'm happy to see more incentive for town clothes, because it's been one of these weird systems. It's a bit like the personality system that I was really excited for before launch, and really I just never play with anymore. Other little bits of quality of life that they just seem to have done to make people happy is if you currently have an item on your account that is already transmuted, it will not just unlock the current skin it's showing, but the previous one as well. So let's say you're insane, okay, and you had a Twilight, and you transmutated the Twilight with a Sunrise, right? 2 different legendary greatswords, and you thought to yourself, I want to combine them together because I'm a madman, right? In the game right now, you'd be really punished for that. It's basically like you've just lost a legendary. However, when the patch goes live, the devs will look at all of these items and say, oh, hey, this used to be this, and it will give you both skins. So again, if you're currently wearing something on your main and it used to have a better skin on it, but you haven't seen it for months, doesn't matter. They'll still give you the old skin because at the end of the day, you worked for it, and I guess they can detect that it was once there on your account, so they're just giving it to you. Now, a big thing that I was very happy about with the previous blog post they released about traits was this idea of exploring the world and being able to unlock a bunch of stuff again. Currently in the game, you guys, anyone that PvPs will know about the existence of the lockers there. Lockers in PvP are where all of your skins would be stored in a very similar fashion to this, but the cool thing about the lockers was it was showing a huge grid with a bunch of items in it that if you didn't already own, they'd be grayed out. And it really tapped into this like collector's mentality, at least in my mind, where I desperately wanted to unlock everything and fill in all of those slots. I look like how at the moment you can be a miniature collector and you see all those mini slots and you want to eventually have them all filled in. Well, now with the wardrobe, that exact idea from originally in PvP is going across the entire game. So when you press H to look at your hero panel, on the left you will see all of the skins you have currently got unlocked. Nothing else, not all the skins that exist in the game but you don't have access to, just the skins that you've got unlocked. But if you go to your bank now, you will see the wardrobe itself. Currently we have 2 tabs on our bank, just the regular bank storage and then collectible storage. Now there will be a 3rd tab, and by clicking the 3rd tab, you will get a glorious list of every single skin that exists in Guild Wars 2, all categorized so that you can jump through whichever you like. Every single one. And the ones that you don't own will be in grayed out boxes. So this idea of being a collector that wants to get all of these slots filled in, unlock everything, you can see it there in your bank. You can right click the items, you can maybe then look on the wiki to see how you could potentially eventually get it, and this is going to give people a lot of goals. They actually give an example as well. The dev says, look, there's tons of skins in the game, you would have no idea, and he even links to this random item called a wooden sword. This wooden sword is an item that you can only get by crafting it, and to craft it you have to complete a certain thing out in the game to unlock the recipe to craft it. It's a low level weapon that no one would ever have been interested in at all. But now, because of the new wardrobe system, there's going to be people out there who are like, I want to unlock every single sword in Guild Wars 2. And now they're going to see this wooden sword there, and they're going to think, right, I've got to go get it. And they'll actually go out, they'll complete dynamic events, finish heart quests to unlock this recipe to then go and craft this obscure item. This is a really interesting way that this new feature has actually allowed players now to tap into fun content that's in Guild Wars 2, but they just look over because there was no point in it before. There was no reward. Who cared about that sword before now? But now people will actually go out there and play with those recipes. You know, a big example is in Sparkfly Fen, there's a bunch of recipes you can buy for a very specific set of weapons called the Sunbead stuff. There's even their own specific crafting material for it. I've never played with that. I've never bothered with it. Why would I want a bunch of Sunbead skins for no reason just to clutter up my bank? Now I'm going to care. Now I'm going to think, right, I want to get all the Sunbead stuff. I'm going to go out and experience that content. There's loads of stuff like that in Guild Wars 2. Think about all of the Mystic Forge recipes that are out there. You know, if you're a warrior that got their legendary greatsword a long time ago, but you've always liked the idea of getting Volcanus, now you have a bit more incentive to go out and get Volcanus. There are so many skins in that forge, not even from ridiculously expensive recipes, that finally people are going to start looking back at. Here's a huge thing for me. Think about as you're leveling up. Currently, you level up by completing heart events, and really, you just want to do the heart for the experience and the fact that it's helping you with map completion in that region. You move on. It's very rare that you actually speak to that NPC and see what they have available as a vendor. Now people will care. There's loads of specific karma skins. There's not that much variety in armor as far as I'm aware, but there are certainly weapons out there too that now for a new player leveling up in Guild Wars 2 or experiencing the game will be compelled to go to these heart vendors and actually buy what armor they have available, because that's going to unlock it permanently on their account and they're going to feel like that's a bigger reward. It's something more than just spamming F on stuff and killing things so you can finish the heart. It's going to the NPC and seeing what they have for sale and actually buying these things with karma. This is content and ideas that are in Guild Wars 2 but have been always overlooked by people because the rewards aren't there, and now it is. With the revelation that the traits were going to be unlockable through leveling up and doing certain personal story things in the previous blog post, I talked about the fact I was actually quite excited about creating a new character in Guild Wars 2 because I could go around and get this big experience of unlocking stuff. The sudden reveal that the wardrobe exists too, and given everything I've just mentioned, is going to be huge. I'm really looking forward to now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a ranger because I've never played a ranger, and I'm going to level from 1 to 80 nice and slowly, and the entire way through the game I'm going to be excited to find new traits in hidden places, pets as well. Unlocking pets is something I've never had to play with, and every single time I finish a heart event I'm going to want to go over to these people and talk to them and start unlocking skins. Every time I find something on the floor I'm going to consider, is that a skin I've got yet? I'm going to be looking for recipes and in general have a lot more to do than, you know, the common run around zerging for map completion. I'm super excited. So yeah, that is what they have announced, the account wardrobe. I really don't have anything negative to say. I think it's a given here, guys, that there are probably going to be quite a few bugs, but once those are sifted out in the following days after the update, this is going to be huge for Guild Wars 2. This is giving goals to people big time in a way that we haven't seen for a long while. And again, I direct your attention to the fact we've only had barely half of the articles they're releasing about this feature update so far. There's even more coming. I do want to touch very quickly on another update that they put out for today, and that's on the die system. Obviously, the wardrobe is a huge thing. It's the talk of the town, what everyone's going on about. The die system has been refined slightly in addition to this. There have been minor changes that make it easier to use. It's now integrated more seamlessly into like the wardrobe and hero panel UI, which again you should have seen in the background during this video. But there are a couple of other things to take note of, mainly the fact that along with all skins, dies are now also becoming entirely account bound. So if you only had Abyss on one character, congratulations, it's now on every character you ever make for Guild Wars 2. However, this does mean that with current drop rates, there would be a huge surplus of dies out there because people need less now. You only ever need it once for your account, not for each individual character. And so, to address this, the rate of unidentified dies that drop is becoming nil. You can still craft specific hues, and I would say there's actually a lot more incentive for crafting dies now in the game, but that's gone way down. This has, of course, caused craziness on the trading post at the moment. And also to reward people, I guess in a small way, who have already got multiples of dies. So say my Necromancer has got a bunch of shades of green that my Elementalist has also got. Well, those are duplicates under the new system, aren't they? Because I only ever needed one. So for every duplicate you've ever unlocked on your account, they will give you a free unidentified die when the update goes live. So currently unidentified die costs loads of money on the trading post because people have panic bought it up because the rates are going down. However, do be aware, as soon as this patch goes live, there's going to be tons of free unidentified dies going across everyone's accounts, and you don't have to worry too much. And yes, unidentified die isn't really going to be something you're getting from mobs anymore, but they are saying that there will be Mystic Forge recipes and specific in-game rewards that will give you unidentified dies. Now, to me, that doesn't say that they're going through and, you know, oh, I got this point of interest here, have an unidentified die. To me, this says that sometimes during the living world, they can give us unidentified dies as rewards. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news for today, guys. Overwhelmingly positive, sickeningly so, I would say. But I'm excited, man. This is very, very cool, in my opinion, and I'm happy that it's finally been released. Just that line that it's been worked on since the wallet was added to the game makes you think, I wonder what those guys who were working on account-bound stuff are now doing. Anyway, let me know what you think. What are the complaints here, guys? What don't you like? Is it people just butthurt because, oh, I have 10 abysses on every single character and now I get nothing? You know, because I have very little sympathy for that. You've already reaped the benefits of having multiple abyss across your entire account. And, like, are you really going to take that freedom away from the rest of the community just because you spend that extra bit of money? You know, I can agree that it's a bit of a sour situation, but as I say, limited sympathy. What are some other issues? Like, this is just very, very cool. You know, lots of legendaries being all over the place, them being even less special, I do agree is going to be a problem. But also, we might see more weird skins being shown by players now. You know, like that wooden sword I was talking about. You never see anyone with that. But, you know, if I make a new character now, I might decide to show that for a little while. There's going to be a lot more freedom there. And is that going to be a bad thing? I would love to hear your thoughts, guys. But yes, this has been the next day of the feature patch. Cool stuff. Let me know what you've been thinking in the comments below, and I will see you next time. March 26th is the next update, and that's tomorrow. It's called Looking for Group. I'll see you guys then.